Hi angels. I want to share with you today a few stories that have come up for me in my community lately that I know will help you, which are all around when you feel that you're outgrowing people, but it's people that you want in your life. It's people that you don't want to actually leave or the relationship to fall apart. And I want to share with you some signs of how you know that's coming up for you so you understand how you're feeling, but also some ways that you can help cope, some ways that you can help move through these relationships in a way that honors you and honors them. It all come from a funny story where one of my clients said to me, her husband said to her, "You've joined a cult." Like there's nothing wrong with our cult. We've got an amazing community because she's outgrowing him in certain ways. So let's dive in. I can't wait to share with you. Good morning, my beautiful, beautiful friends. So happy to be here with you as always. I want to share with you today, today's podcast episode is all around how sometimes you can outgrow people that you actually love. You want them to still be in your life because we absolutely have times when we outgrow people that we find the relationships fall apart, or we find that we let them simmer, we let them drift away. That might come with a challenge where you have like an abrupt ending and people leave your life where you feel that it was necessary for your growth and evolution. But then there's those people in our life that we can't escape, those people that we love, those people that are nearest and dearest to us. And I want to share with you some perspectives, some insights, just some ways to honor you and to honor them, to protect your energy and just help that relationship grow. And then there's also family experiences. Like I had a client kind of speak to me during the week in our coaching program. We were talking about how like there's family that you can't escape, like when you go to family functions, family barbecues and things like that, and there's people around you that they're going to be in your family for a long time. You're going to associate with them all the time. You don't want to kick them out of your life, but how to handle those situations as well. So I'm going to dive into all of that and how this started. I guess what prompted the podcast episode was I was talking to one of my other beautiful girls. And I spoke to her about this before I share this story. I'm like, we were joking around and she said that, my husband said to me, "You've joined a cult," meaning Earthy Angels. And I said to her, we were chatting about it, and I said to her, "I need to share can I share a podcast episode on that? Let's call it, My Husband Said I've Joined a Cult." And we were laughing and in all seriousness though, like we were having some serious conversation around it. But she said, "Yes, please do," in capital letters. She wrote back, "Yes, please do." So I want to kind of share a little bit about that as well, because we do have people in our life that notice our growth. Some are oblivious to it, and you pick up on the gap getting a little bit bigger, and you pick up on, you might want to kind of you struggle being around them, right? And then there are other people in our life where it could be a partner, it could be your kids, it could be someone really, really close to you. And I'm just going to use family as an example, but this can go for friendships, like your best friend, your closest people around you, people that you're with all the time at work that you actually genuinely love and care about, but you notice a bit of a gap, right? Like you notice a gap between your conversations, you just feel like that you've outgrown them, and not in a superior way, not in a "I'm better than you, I don't need you in my life anymore," or like it's not this better than, less than. It's just you notice a change, and you notice when you're on a bit of a self-discovery, a bit of a spiritual journey, and you notice that your values start to change. You notice you're doing things more to grow, to evolve, to take care of yourself, to protect your mindset, to honor your body and take care of your body. Sometimes people around you don't like it, and sometimes it can come from a place of you might feel a bit of a gap, you might feel a bit of a distance, or they might make some smart ass remarks to you that make you go, "Hang on a sec," or they might have little digs at you. Or let me give you some examples, like this client that I was sharing with you. She said that her husband said, "You've joined a cult." And how it come about is this beautiful client has relocated to Queensland, found us at the right time for her, absolutely. And she has just dove into the studio. She's dove into, come along to a women's circle, loved how she felt, loved what she's experienced, loved the community, love how she's starting to feel. She's joined up on a 12-month membership. She has then gone into my 12-month coaching program. She's eating up my podcast. And what happens when you get around like-minded people, or people that you are learning and you're growing from? You're starting to better yourself. You're starting to feel good in yourself. Sometimes people around you, those closest to you, feel it. They notice it, and they can sense a little bit of a bit of a disconnection maybe, or maybe they see you going off and doing your thing, and it makes them feel a little bit insecure, because she said that her husband said to her at the beginning when she joined, because she wanted to pay for the 12 months, and he sort of said, like, you're not going to stick to it. You've joined other gyms before, and, this is just another one of those gyms that he basically doubted her before she'd even started. And that can feel disheartening when those closest to you can feel like you can feel like you're not getting their support. And you can do one or two things. You can get down and out about it and feel defeated. Some people use it as fuel to go like, I'm going to show you and I'm going to stick to it. And some people just, they take it on board and they just feel hurt. Like they feel that, why would they say that? Or, they feel like they've doubted on me. And then they start to feel that they doubt themselves and go, maybe I have quit on things in the past. Maybe I'm not going to succeed. And then they can find that they shrink. So what I want to encourage you to do today is to help you stick to your goals and stick to your vision. And even though the exterior environment around you can be hard to navigate at times and it can be challenging, going on this growth journey, whether it's a physical growth journey, you're all at different stages. Those of you that are listening to me, it can be changes that you're making in your body. It can be shifts that you're starting to make in your mindset. It can be spiritual shifts that you're starting to do a bit of deep inner work and a bit of deep healing, that people around you feel it. Like this one client, she said that her husband said, she just started taking on a little bit of the tools that we're practicing, using a bit of sage. And she said her husband said to the kids, Mum's gone to Lulu, Mum's gone cray cray. And I said to her, this is not a reflection of you. This is a reflection of your partner. Because what you find sometimes is as you start to grow, you start to do things that are making you feel good, what often happens is it highlights in them the things they're not doing in themselves. And they feel they've got a choice as well. They have a choice. They can, step up and match your energy. They can be inspired by you, and they can go, oh, my wife's starting to go to the gym or the studio or take care of herself or eat a little bit better. I can jump on board. Maybe I can go with her. Maybe I can learn from her. Maybe I can go and do my thing. Or what a lot of people do is they put up this kind of protection mechanism, and they get afraid of you growing, and they get fearful at a subconscious level. So even if their mind doesn't comprehend it, your ego wants to keep you safe. So that ego kind of keeps us in this human experience. You've got this is what I believe. It's up to you what you believe. I believe we've got our soul body in this vessel having a human experience. And what can often happen is a lot of people don't connect with that soul essence part of themselves, and their ego, their humanness that wants to keep them safe, that wants to keep them comfortable, that wants to keep them familiar, can go, they see what's changing, and at an ego or just that kind of human perspective, they don't know how to handle it. It's like a subconscious soul level. Their soul goes, hang on a sec, like, she's outgrowing me. I don't want that to happen, and I want to kind of keep us at the same level. So it's almost like they try and rein you back in because it makes them feel good and it justifies their behavior, and they don't do it intentionally. Often it's not like they're setting out to intentionally hurt you, but what they want to do is they want to kind of keep you at the same. They want you to stay the same because they're staying the same. They want you to stay the same because that's how they knew you. That's how they met you. That's how you guys have been doing things for so many years, that when all of a sudden one partner starts to shift, one partner starts to grow, one partner starts to change, and it highlights in them how they're not doing it. And, I said this to my client. We had a bit of a chat about like her husband's nothing wrong with him, but like, about his habits, about his lifestyle, and with his work and everything, he lives more of a sedentary lifestyle, and he's starting to suddenly see her go out and move a little bit more, going into like the women's circles, starting to notice changes in her. That what do most people do as a defense mechanism, instead of looking at their own stuff, instead of, that everyone has their own insecurities, and as a way of protecting themselves, as a way of not opening themselves up to change, because change is hard, change is uncomfortable, what they can often do is criticize you. And it can be in, harsh comments. It can be subtle. It can be like a subtle kind of reining you back in, or saying, oh, do you have to go there? Do you have to do this? I need you, because they need you, because they don't know what they want for themselves. So it's easier for them to kind of keep you safe, keep you looking after themselves, keep them safe, keep them, you know what I mean? They feel comfortable when you're by their side, and they feel comfortable when you're doing things for them, because a lot of people don't want to do things for themselves. It takes a lot of internal motivation, a lot of that inner drive to go and start exercising, to go and join a studio, to go and do some inner work on yourself, to go and do something that is really, really different, to go and put on a podcast, to go and do some study, to go and do some training, to go and do some kind of growth. It is hard and it is uncomfortable. So a lot of people stay in that safe, familiar zone and try and keep you there, looking after them, instead of taking that responsibility and that accountability of actually doing some things for themselves. I've seen it in women. I've seen it in women in the studio where their husband's like, do you have to go to class tonight? Like, and because again, it puts a little bit more responsibility back on the family dynamics, when, if you want to go and do something for yourself and your partner's not used to that, and maybe they have to step up a little bit more to support you. And I always encourage, it goes both ways, girls. You encourage them and you support them in their needs. It's not always just about us. It's about working together in that family dynamic. But they want to keep everything that kind of even playing field. They want to keep it how it has been. Not all partners are like that. There are definitely partners that are encouraging and supportive, and they want you to grow. They want you to evolve, because maybe they're doing a bit of work on themselves, or because maybe they want you to come out of your shell a bit more. Maybe they have seen you struggle through the journey of motherhood, or through losing yourself, or through, they've seen changes in you. And they want you to get back to your old vibrant ways. And so some are encouraging. Every family dynamic and every relationship is different. And I can't speak on every single one. That's something that you need to work out for yourself. I'm just the messenger. I take out of this what you will. But I just want you to just start noticing how it's making you feel, and how when these things come up for you, you've then got a choice as to what you do in the situation. I know with my partner, there's definitely been times that I have outgrown him. And I know when that happens, and I've spoke about this before, when I say I outgrow him, maybe I go through a bit of a spiritual growth, a bit of a jump, like a bit of a quantum leap in certain things, where I find my voice a little bit more, or not that he suppresses it, but I, open up myself a little bit more, or I feel that I'm stepping into my power a little bit more. I start to feel some changes, where I know that when we have had that period of like that, I notice a gap. I kind of can feel the gap. I can feel I get frustrated with certain things, and I feel that I get, we fight. I feel that, like he might pick at me a bit more, or I'm short patient with, I don't have the patience with him. And I kind of feel that there's this tension, and we have this kind of arguing, or we kind of bicker towards each other. And I notice that, and I kind of, for me now, I realize, hang on, there's a bit of a growth journey going on. I need to reassure him I'm not going anywhere, like everything's okay. And I might be a little bit more attentive and a little bit more encouraging. And sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm just a judgmental bitch. And in my own bubble, I'm not perfect, absolutely not perfect. And I'm like, fuck you, do you, and I'm going to do me. But I noticed then, like, I might have a burst like that where he jokes around with me if we kind of have an argument where it's not like real serious argument, but if we have a bit of a disagreement, and I walk away sometimes and I do this like I take a big breath and I kind of flick my hands, because for me it's like a let go. And I'll walk away and do that sometimes. And he'll be like, don't you woosah me? In the movie, was it Bad Boys for Life? And he goes, woosah, woosah. And so Tom will have a little bit of a dig at me. But sometimes, like when we have a serious, disagreement, I won't do that in his face. I'm just joking. But I will walk away and I will do some things like that just to kind of, I'm not going to carry that. That's yours. I'm going to let it go. And I energetically kind of shift by taking some deep breaths and flicking. It's almost like I'm kind of flicking things off me. So yes, absolutely. I notice the gap. He notices the gap. We feel it. Some people, it shows up in different ways. Some people, it can be arguments. Some people, it can be like they're a bit clingy towards you. Some people, their partner can be a little bit snide in their comments, or, say some not nice things. It all shows up in different ways. What I want you to do is kind of notice how that's coming up, how it's making you feel. And we're going to go through some things that you can do to help that. And I was chatting with another client, and we were talking about when you go to family functions, or you have, there's family around you, like your parents or your siblings or even your own kids, like there's people around you that you love, and you notice the gap. And you don't want to walk away from it. You can't escape the situation because deep down you love them, but you're just at different levels and you're just at different stages. I have got previous podcast episodes you can jump back into around, I wrote them down so I could tell you, episode number 25, when relationships actually break down, when you're feeling alone on your spiritual journey. There's another one, episode 49, when you're feeling like a bit of a lone wolf carving your own path. And then there's a couple of episodes I spoke about recently on episode 87 and 88 around keeping your spiritual journey private and that craving that peace and solitude on the spiritual journey. So you can dive into those too if you feel they're a little bit more relevant. But today I really want to talk about the people in your life that are not going anywhere, okay, that you generally do love. And you might find when you go to family functions, barbecues, parties and things like that, what you start to notice is maybe the conversations don't serve you as much. Maybe you notice their negativity because you're trying your best to grow, to be positive, to do things to better yourself. You start to become more aware because your values shift. What you are, aligning with shifts, that you suddenly become aware of the people around you that are maybe a little bit more toxic, that are maybe a bit of a downer, that are maybe they're just carrying a different energy, a different vibration. Their attitude is not as great. They're seeing the negative in the world. They're talking about all the stuff that's going wrong in the world. And you can kind of be in these conversations and you feel like you don't relate anymore, or you feel like you don't want to be in these conversations. You feel like you don't really have anything in common, and you feel maybe that you can no longer share your truth because maybe when you do open up, again, they notice you change, and maybe they might, give you a little bit of a hard time. I noticed like many years ago when Riley was born with her thyroid condition. She's born with no thyroid. And I was very, very deliberate. So I'm talking like 21 years ago when it wasn't, organic wasn't cool. And it wasn't as obvious and, out there at the moment like it is. And I was very deliberate with the foods that I was really kind of bringing her up on. And I had... I still remember my brother-in-law giving me a hard time with what we'd eat. He'd be like, is that organic? And, and so people sometimes kind of criticize you and you don't compromise on your values, but they're going to be in your life. And yes, you love them. And yes, they're not going anywhere. You don't want them to go anywhere. But it still sometimes hurts, or it still sometimes like rattles you, or it still sometimes makes you feel a little bit defensive, where you just have to know that not everybody has to agree with you. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be opinionated about it. You don't have to argue about it. That the communication, that yes, you can share your truth, but sometimes it's easier just to say nothing at all. And I had we were out with some friends just recently, and I said to Tom, I said, did you notice, like, we love these guys, really, really love these guys. And I said, did you notice that a lot of people, when you're out in conversations, when you're out networking with people, when you're at parties, when you're at work, when you're with people, most people talk about themselves. Most people, you can sit down, like we walked away and went, they didn't really ask too much about what's going on in our world or how we're going. Like they just kind of talked about themselves the whole time. And when you start to be aware of that, you start noticing that a lot of people talk about themselves a lot, or when you're in a conversation, they will hear something from you. They're thinking about the next thing that they're going to say. And you catch yourself. I do it. And I've been very aware of it probably for the last 15 years. I remember learning about this when I was in Network 21 in Amway, and we read this book all around like people skills. So when you start to look at people skills and you start to look and just be aware of conversations, you start to notice that not many people ask about me. They're too busy talking about themselves, or you can share something and they one up you, or they want to share their experience. So a lot of people actually want to talk about themselves. And sometimes what I find that these kind of, family functions or when you're around people, I've started to become a little bit, not always, but sometimes a little bit more quiet. And I've found that you can engage in a conversation. And if you feel like, you're disagreeing with them, or you feel like your values don't align, or you don't want to get caught up in their negativity, a couple of things I'll share with you what I do. But one thing I do is I ask questions about them. Like one of the biggest people skills that I teach this to my kids, I teach this to, in my community, ask questions about them. If you're a shy person and you don't know how to connect with people, you don't know, like you get really nervous. Sometimes you can have a half an hour conversation with someone. You've said nothing about yourself and you've asked them like 5 or 6 questions about themselves. They've spoken the whole time. They walk away and go, gee, she's nice. And you've just listened. We got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I'm learning this. Listen more and speak less. Sometimes, you can just really ask questions and be a great listener. But not everything that comes back your way you have to take on board. I like to visualize that I have this like bubble of protection when I'm going into events or people around me. It's almost like this kind of bubble of protection, and things will, it sounds really bad, but things will come in one ear and out the other ear, okay? So I will listen, but I won't take it all on board. I won't take it personally. So don't take personally how people show up for you, what they say to you, if they disagree with you, if they don't align with your values. Stay truthful to who you are, and you don't have to take their stuff on. You don't have to take it personally. You just still need to be yourself. But sometimes just listening, visualizing this protection bubble around you, like things just bounce off you, like they just kind of flick off you, and you don't take it on board, and you understand. Or sometimes I like to visualize, like mirrors even, and like I send that back to you, like, whatever's coming your way. If it's heavy, just kind of have visualizing these mirrors and go, nope, I'm not taking that on board. I send that back to you with love. That's your stuff. That's not my stuff. So it's a real kind of protection of your energy. Another thing I do is I will pivot the conversations. I will, if they're really draining my energy or the conversation's going, quite downhill fast, I will or if they're going to dive into something that you actually don't really want to talk about, I will kind of pivot the conversation. Like if they're, about to, sometimes you'll notice that people bitch about other people, and you don't want to be brought into that drama. You don't have anything against the person they're talking about. You don't want to get involved in that. If they start asking about someone, or, you can feel where the conversation's going, I'll pivot it. And I will think of something else that I can redirect the conversation into another way and ask them something about themselves, because I don't want to go there. And I found that has really, really helped. And then there are those people that, you just need to walk away from. You might have a bit of a shallow surface level conversation with, there's family members or people at your workplace that you really don't have anything in common with, that you might have a conversation with, and you feel you're done and you've connected, and then you might excuse yourself. I need to go and check on the kids, or I just need to go to the bathroom, or excuse me, I'm just going to go get a napkin, or go and help mum in the kitchen, or something like that. And you can just politely excuse yourself, or when somebody else comes over, that's your cue to go. So you can kind of walk away if it's really draining you and you're really not feeling it. Absolutely walk away from the conversation. And then, the last thing that I found in these situations, the more and more I start to be myself, and the more people are seeing the change in me, I actually find people want to open up to me. And I actually go in with this attitude: if I can leave somebody with some light, if I can help somebody by being myself and just shining that bit of light on them and leaving them with one thing, I like to go through life feeling that I leave people better than I found them. And you might have just some gift that you can give them through a bit of an insight with something that you've learned in a book, or something that you've read, or something that you've absorbed. Leave that with them. And I find that people who maybe I thought weren't very, let's just use an example. Like, I thought they weren't very deep because maybe they have this tough exterior. When they're around me, people open up. And I just have this way of people always open up to me. So I can find that I can be in a really, deep conversation with people, and just by asking a few of the right questions, they really share with me. And it's not from a place of me prying. It's not from a place of me wanting to dive into their stuff. I just find that people have conversations with me, and I heal them with my voice, with the things that I leave them with. That it might be one line that you say. So think, how can you leave people better than you found them? How can you give them a little bit of your light by something that you've learned? And having this goal that, what if the people around you, so let's say like your partner, for instance, what if by you being yourself and you going on this soul aligned path of discovering your truth, of taking better care of yourself, what if it might cause a little bit of a gap at some stage, but what if that gap gets smaller? And what if they come on board with you? What if you inspire them to be the change by you continuing on your journey? So maybe they might have made snide comments to you. Maybe they might have judged or criticized you. Maybe they might, be a little bit toxic in their thoughts and their negative thoughts or beliefs. Maybe they're just waiting for you to be the change in the world. And by you going about your journey, you will inspire them. Because I have definitely found that I've watched my husband grow. Definitely been conflict, definitely been gaps, all the things. But he is my biggest teacher, and I learn so much from him. He is the biggest love of my life, the most incredible human being. And there are so many things that I learn from him as well. But what I'm watching as we're growing together, sometimes the gap might get big where I might outgrow him. Sometimes he's going through stuff and he might outgrow me. But I find that we kind of have these ways of outgrowing and then coming back together, outgrowing and then coming back together. So by me being myself and him being himself, him going through his challenges in his life, his growth in his life, me going through mine, we learn from each other. So by you giving your partner permission to be themselves, by you, because it's easy to, get angry at them, because I've definitely been there where I go, I'm doing this stuff for myself. I'm meditating, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing the inner work, I'm healing, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm listening to podcasts. You're not. It can actually make you you notice the gap, and it can make you get a bit resentful towards them, because I've been there. And I think, why don't you do things for yourself? And why don't you do this? We just have to understand that we don't all like the same things. We're all on our own different paths, but by you being yourself, it might encourage them to maybe go on their health journey in their own time and space, in their own way. They don't have to do what you do, because we like different things. So just knowing that in you showing up and you doing the healing, the growing, the learning, the bettering yourself, even like I said to my client when she said, her husband said you've joined a cult. I'm like, isn't it a great cult? Like, seriously, your mum has noticed that you are She even said, I've never seen you stick to anything like this before, and you're sticking to it. And that's a great thing. She's noticed changes in you. You've noticed changes in you. You've noticed that your weight has improved. You notice that your clothes are fitting better. You noticed your mindset improving. You're noticing that you're not carrying things. You're letting go of things. You're noticing that you're improving in your life and you're a happier, better person. Wouldn't you want to join a cult like that? Like, seriously, what is wrong with that? It's helping you, okay? So I fucking love our cult. She's like, me too, and we were joking around about it. But you can find that just do you. Hang around like-minded people, get in like-minded environments that serve you and lift you up and help you grow, and then you be that change and let your change ripple out into your life and just show up being authentically you. And there is going to be that time of season, reason, lifetime. There are going to be people that do leave your life. Sometimes relationships over time, they do end in separation or divorce. Like we're all here for our own unique soul journey. We don't know, but don't ever let anyone dim your light, and don't ever let anyone bring you down to their level. And if you're feeling that you're starting to be uninspired, if you're feeling that you are being a little bit, drained by people around you, what I want to go into next is how you can, how you can protect yourself and how you can still have the courage to show up and be authentically you, and don't let people bring you down. Don't let people discourage you on your journey. Have awareness. Again, I'm going to go back to my angels framework, which I feel is really helpful. I had one of my beautiful girls message me, sent me a beautiful voice message during the week. I put out my last podcast episode and I was a little bit umming and ahhing. Do I put it out there? Am I opening myself up? And I went, no, I'll just put it out there. And it's often those ones that I'm a bit unsure of, a little bit. Not that I don't think they're good, but I think, how are people going to take it? Are people going to judge me? And all of those things that go through my mind, where I have to go, just at least block it out. Just, you're showing up as yourself, just stick it out there. They're the ones that people always message me about and go, that was a great podcast. And my beautiful client, she messaged me and she said how much she took out of that podcast and what it brought up in her and what she noticed. And she said, I love that Angels framework. I'm going to use that. That's really helpful. So this is just something that I've kind of developed and how I work with and how I share with my clients. So if it helps you, great. If not, that's okay. Take out of it the bits that you need. But A, for my Angels Framework stands for awareness. So have awareness in all of those things that I spoke about before. Notice when you're feeling energetically drained. Notice when you're uninspired. Notice when you feel the gap getting bigger. You're with people that the values have changed, where you feel the communication is harder. You can no longer be your truth. You have nothing in common. Notice how their comments make you feel. Notice how you feel when you're around them. Have that awareness around, maybe I am growing a little bit more. Maybe I have outgrown them. Have an awareness of how it's making you feel, how it's making you feel in yourself, how it's making you feel in your truth, how it's making you feel in your body physically. That first step is just having that awareness in maybe what it's highlighting in them, maybe the insecurities that's showing up in them, maybe that they're noticing your growth. Have awareness in yourself, awareness in your environment, and awareness for the people around you with no judgment. No right, wrong, good, bad, no judgment, just awareness. And then going into like that nourishment. So like when you're in those situations where we're all going to have situations in our life we can't escape, in our workplace, in our environments, in our family, in our friendship groups, have awareness of how you feel. And then afterwards, or even in the moment, nourish yourself. So even if you're with some people or you're in a heavy situation, sometimes I'll, if we're at a family thing, I might go with one of the kids. Do you want to go on the swing? And, take one of my little nieces or nephews or one of the family members, just go and barefoot on the grass and just push my little person on the swing and just spend a little bit of time there. Quick nourishment, few breaths, and then kind of go back in. But then also afterwards, when you've been around heavier situations, heavier people, heavier energies, how can you nourish yourself? Okay, you love them, you're there for them, but then you be a little bit selfish and go, maybe I need to go and have a nice salt bath. Maybe I need to go and, go to yoga, go to the gym, go for a walk, put on a podcast, Do the things that light you up and that make you feel good. Go and nourish yourself always. That nourishment comes back to what leaves you feeling nourished, fulfilled, happy, grounded, calm, centered, balanced, to reset your energy. G is for guidance. Ask for guidance. Like, not necessarily sometimes in the situation, like ask for the guidance. If you're talking to someone, what needs to come through me to help them? Like I often do that. When I do a podcast, I ask for guidance. What do I need to share with my community? Can you please help it speak through me? Use me as the conduit. What can I share to leave them with? I ask for, so it could be like your spirit guides for connection with your higher self, God, source, loved ones, angels, past ancestors. Ask for guidance. I ask for guidance for myself and for people around me. So I will, like, if I am having a bit of a situation, maybe with like my husband or my kids, like I had one recently where I've been like that with my butting heads with the kids, where I'm sharing things, I'm wanting to help, wanting to give support, wanting to give advice. They don't want to hear it. And so I'll go, okay, I'm going to remove me and I'm just going to call on my spirit team and their spirit team, like their God source universe. I'll say, please help me to understand them better. Please help me in this situation. Please help me with what I need to learn and grow and shift from. And please help them. Like it could be, for instance, sometimes with my husband, I'll call on his dad and say, please help him through this difficult time, or please help him see what maybe he's not seeing yet. So I'll call for guidance to come and help me, come and help them. And sometimes you see signs show up. Sometimes you'll kind of see those little signs show up, like through numbers, through songs, through something that you read, through an angel card. Like I pulled after I had a bit of both the kids, it's a full moon at the moment, and both the kids I had an argument with. It's not even an argument. They're like, Mum, I don't want to hear this right now. And the next day I was in my spiritual rituals and I pulled a couple of cards. One card was all around stand in your power, like don't lose your power because you're a powerful being. And the card was all around it was mother, oh my goodness, I had Jesus's mum, oh my goodness, sister Mary, okay? And it was all around, the card was around this energy of Mary and around that, just standing in your power, standing in your truth and doing what has to be done, shining your light in the world, even if the task sometimes feels daunting, okay? And then the next card I pulled was all around letting go of the need to be right. That's exactly what it said. And I'm like, okay, thank you. The guidance that come through was exactly what I needed to hear. It wasn't what I wanted to hear, but it was what I needed to hear, okay? So using like maybe your angel cards, however you call on your guidance, and hang around long enough and I'll teach you if you don't know. Some of you are aware of what that shows up for you like, but connecting in with that guidance and looking at the signs that, without trying to find them, but just noticing the signs that are coming up from you, okay? I've had times where I've had a song come on the radio and it was like, no doubt, don't speak. And I'm like, okay, fine, I get the point. So noticing on the guidance that, one, ask for it, and two, the guidance that you receive, opening yourself up to receive the guidance. E is energy. Protecting your energy. So maybe that could be that you need to have conversations with your partner around how you feel. Ask them for support. Tell them how much this means to you, like how much this cult is really helping you and how much you're feeling good. And for the first time you felt so good in yourself, you're getting connected to yourself, you're finding yourself. Please give me some support, but then honoring that back for them as well. Protecting your energy by making space in your life. So making space for your spiritual rituals, making space to, after you have been in a, maybe a busyness, like a work function or a family function, or some kind of environment where you've been around a lot of people, go home and make space to protect your energy, pull out your sage, pull out something, ground your feet, get your feet in the water, have a salt bath, which is an energetic cleanse. Use your sage and go, I'm not carrying anything. I love you. I send it back to you. I'm not carrying any of today's conversations. And just use the sage to, I protect my energy. I release the heaviness. I let go of any dark energies or any heavy energies that have been around me. I call in only light and love. I come from a place of light and love, and just asking for that heaviness to, that darkness to leave you, to go back, surrender it back, and then reconnect with your energy, using whatever tool feels good for you to protect your energy, to make space and honor your boundaries. You know, maybe you need to say no to a few things. Sometimes we go through periods where, yes, we love our family. Yes, we want to be there for them. But sometimes you just need to have a few boundaries, whether it's verbally boundaries, I'm telling you, I've got this boundary, or whether it's just a subtle little energetic bubble you put around yourself and you withdraw yourself, make a bit of space and just step back a little bit. I'm going to bed early, or, you know, I just need to go out for a walk. Have your boundaries, whether you verbalize them or whether you just know them within yourself. Have those boundaries to protect and to release and to let go of what has been. L is love. L stands for love. Send people love. Always come from a place of love. Send people love. Have kindness and compassionate towards yourself and to other people. Just, you know, some people aren't where you're at, and that's okay. Sometimes you're not where other people is at, and that's okay. Always look at the world and yourself and other people through the eyes of love and acceptance. Accept them for where they're at. I've had to learn this with my husband, with my kids, with people around me, that I just have to sometimes go, please just accept where they're at. Like, just have fun. Sometimes just getting back to that humanness, because there's this song that I love that's called Healing Is Not Your Purpose. It's on my Raising Your Vibrations playlist. Raising Your Vibration, my playlist on Spotify. Follow me on Lisa Everding, one word, and there's a beautiful playlist on there that is all around shifting your energy and raising your vibration. There's a song called Healing Is Not My Purpose. And it reminds me when I listen to it, how we can go on these growth journeys, we can go on these spiritual journeys, we can go on these journeys of self-discovery. We're loving it, we're feeling good. Sometimes you just have to be human and go, I just don't need to do all the healing and do all the heavy stuff. Sometimes I just need to just have a human experience and just go and have fun, you know, and go and have a couple of drinks and go and enjoy time with these people and go and enjoy time with your partner and just get back to having a little bit of human fun. Yes, we have our soul body, but we're in this human experience to enjoy life as well. Okay, so sometimes you just need to just go and have fun, and I shouldn't say get down to their level, but get to their level, you know, because you don't have to be all serious all the time and do all the healing all the time. You just want to enjoy your life as well. So it's this really beautiful balance of, yes, you're on this journey of self-discovery. Yes, you're authentic. Yes, you don't, you know, compromise on who you are, but sometimes just go and let your hair down and have some fun and just love life and just enjoy life and just enjoy being a human. Accept them for where they're at. Do things that they love as well, that they enjoy, to build that connection back together. Go for a weekend away, go for a night away, go out on a date, go and just have some fun and just look at them through the eyes of love, and just getting back to that beautiful place of acceptance for you, acceptance from them. Because if you want acceptance for who you are, you need to accept people for who they are and where they're at. And yes, I'm still learning this. Yes, I have times where I learn this the hard way, but just, you know, really come from a place of love for you and from them, and self-compassion always, okay? Because you don't know people's past, you don't know people's life history, their life experience. Have compassion for what they're going through. If they are going through something in a conversation, a little bit negative, a little bit toxic, have come from a place of kindness and love and compassion. And like I said before, just give them a little piece of you that helps light them up and leaves them with some inspiration. And then S is for surrender. Surrender to season, reason, lifetime. Surrender to trusting the process that, you know what, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. Surrender to, you know, maybe they will rise to, you know, if you're on a growth journey and they're not. Surrender to the fact that maybe they will meet you at their own time. They might never go on that growth journey, and that is not your it's not your part of life that you are there to control, or you are there to teach everybody everything all the time. That they just need to go through their journey. Surrender to your path and let your family, your loved ones, your partner, surrender the need to control, surrender the need to perfect, surrender the need to want to try and help everybody all the time. Surrender sometimes that people are not always going to get it. Surrender to you're on your growth journey and they're on their growth journey. We come together in our own soul journey, but we come together in relationships through marriage, through parent-child, through friends. Like we have all of these human interactions, and we have all of these relationships that we come together in, that they're not always going to be perfectly aligned 100% of the time. You're going to learn things from each other. You're going to grow at different paces, different stages. There are going to be those people that come into your life, season, reason, or lifetime, but just let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to be heard all the time. Let go of the need to be seen all the time. Just let go and just surrender to whatever is meant to be will be. I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to show up and keep being me. Whoever's meant to be in my life will be in my life for a reason, season, lifetime. But I'm just going to surrender to the moment. What do I need right now? What do they need right now? Sometimes we can get so caught up in our heads of everything that has been, everything that's coming, that sometimes we just need to surrender and just be in the moment. And that could be at times that you just need to just come from that place of love, come from that place of just being in the now, instead of wanting to control everything, predict everything, make everything right in the harmonious family dynamics or the friendship dynamics or the circle. That just surrender into what you need in the moment and just get out of your head a little bit more and get into your heart and let your heart guide you. Let your heart guide you back to, like, I always love reading and listening to Wayne Dyer. He always comes from that place of love, seeing the world through the eyes of love, seeing yourself through the eyes of love, and just surrendering into the moment and how it's meant to play out in that particular moment helps you get through life with more ease and more grace and more flow. Maybe just surrendering into that, having a bit of human fun, maybe just surrendering into, you do you, I'll do me, and just showing up and being yourself. That's the best gift that you can give people. And that is the best gift that you can give yourself, is to, no matter what goes on with people around you, loved ones or not, friends, people that are in your life, people in your communities, just looking at them with a bigger heart, a bigger perspective, that we're all here on our own soul journey. We're all here in our own divine timeline. We're all here to have our own needs met. But often when you show up as yourself, it's the biggest act of service that you can give other people. But more importantly, that you can give to yourself, is really coming from that heart place of love and kindness and compassion and service, to just be your authentic self, girls. And these situations, you're going to have to navigate them. I'm going to have to navigate them throughout our whole entire life. It's part of having this human experience. But the more that you can get connected to your soul, and the more that you can do things, maybe you need to do things in private. Like I shared in that episode, it was episode 87, around keeping your spiritual journey private, episode 88 around craving peace and solitude on your spiritual journey. Honor that as much as you honor your connections and your relationships. Honor both, but don't ever neglect your own time. Don't ever neglect your own relationship with yourself, because that's the most powerful relationship that you are ever going to have. Don't ever compromise on yourself. And if it's leaving you feeling good, if it's leaving you feeling the things that you do for yourself, if it's leaving you feeling nourished, fulfilled, like you're connecting with your soul, like you're feeling peace, you're feeling calm, do those things for your soul relationship, honoring that relationship as well as those relationships around you. I hope that has helped give you some, I guess, some little tools, some little things that you can do a bit of a perspective shift, and come join our cult. Like, seriously, get into our community, get into, stay connected. We have incredible like-minded people. If you're looking for some more like-minded people, come into our events, whether it's the retreats, whether it's the women's circles, whether it's the studio. Come and find your tribe. We have a really, really powerful tribe, and I know that we will leave you feeling better, because that's my intention and I would love that to be your intention at some stage in your life. Leave people better than you found them just by being yourself, angels. I will leave that with you. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next episode. Wow, so much love to you always. Bye.